Okay, Amber, I think we are officially live. Can you hear me okay?
Yay, I can
Oh
hear
no.
you.
I don't like that we're not in the same room. We always like to
I
be
know.
buddying
I
up to
like to
each
rub
other.
shoulders, feel your
Yeah.
energy, but no, not
Yeah.
today.
It's okay though. It's okay. We got several people that have been waiting for us to go live this morning, and I think it's because we're going to be talking about a pretty hot topic on how can you buy a house with no income. That is a little bit of a clickbaity title, so I felt a little strange about doing it that way because we don't do clickbait. We try to really be direct and be bring in the hope. But it is kind of cool because we were having some conversations in the last week about all the stuff going on in the market, and you brought up a really cool opportunity for a specific type of buyer. So I'm really stoked. But before we get into that, let's let a few people come online. I see people popping in now. Hello, everybody who's here already. If you're watching this on a replay, be sure to, comment anyway. Let us know what you thought. If you have questions, please do that as well. We will always be returning to the comments after we go live, and we can try to answer them in the next live, or we'll do a video about it if it's a good enough comment. Or question. While we are chatting today, I want to just let everybody know that this video is for you. So we do live streams once a week. This is my amazing friend Amber Coleman from Guild Mortgage. I'm Lacey,
Hi.
Las Vegas gal. Hello. And we're here really just on a Monday morning this morning to just bring you kind of an update, talk to you a little bit about this awesome opportunity for a certain type of buyer that we're going to discuss in a few minutes. But more so than ever, we're just here for you. We want to answer your questions. So if you've got questions you've been, sitting on all weekend, or something comes up from what we're talking about, drop it in the comments below. We're going to have a specific question and answer section at the very end. And then we'll get this party started. What do you think, Amber?
I think it's a good party. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you to everybody who's joining us. Please make sure you drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Love seeing you guys as always. All right, Amber, let's talk about what happened in the last week. I know we go live every week, and I know sometimes it feels like we're saying the same thing, but different people tune in at different times, and things are literally changing minute to minute
Like
these days.
daily right now. Like I
Right.
almost have to I almost feel like a stockbroker right now, where you have all your screens that have all the different
You got
analysts
the
on it and
matrix
stuff
behind
like
you. Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's hourly right now what's happening. I mean, any news that's released, anytime a Fed member speaks, the market goes crazy. Anytime
Whew.
really any reports are out, the market goes crazy because it all leads to inflationary stuff. So
Yep.
our rates go crazy with it. But I
Yeah.
always say the higher we get, the faster it's going to fall down too.
Yeah,
So,
it better. I'll tell you that.
and while you're on that climb, it's a good opportunity, to work on that fear from the seller too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So we are seeing, a lot of people are assuming that lowering the cost of houses is going to fix the quote issue that's happening right now. A lot of people say, oh, the crash is coming. When house prices fall and crash down to the ground, everything will be better, and I'll be able to get a deal. And, there's a lot of people that are rooting for, I think, the wrong thing, because house
Yeah.
prices going down is only one component of the issue. Our house prices are still, even with everything going on, stable for the most part. They're definitely listing prices are coming down, but the values have not dipped a ton because there are still opportunities, for buyers out there, right? But let's talk about what happened in the last week. I know that the most recent inflation numbers came out. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, and basically inflation doesn't look like it's been calmed down by what the Feds
Yeah.
are doing. But if you really look at it, like when the Feds make moves like that, it takes time for it to hit.
Yep.
Like it takes
Yep.
time for it to hit. So I don't know why we would have expected it to move that fast, but
Yeah.
I think we all just kind of want to get over the pain and be done with
Yeah.
it, when it's probably going to take a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the inflation numbers came out, and basically inflation hasn't really done anything since the Feds have started making their moves on raising rates over the last
Right.
10 months now.
Yeah. And so many people assume, oh, rates are high, nobody's buying, but that's not the reality. We actually still have quite a few people buying homes right
There
now.
is.
There's people who are first-time home buyers who maybe couldn't get into the market last year because of how crazy things were and how competitive it was. There's people who are investors who are very keen on pulling their money out of the stock market, which is a little more unpredictable than housing, and putting it into something that's like a solid asset, like a home that they know, regardless of what happens in the next 2 years, 5 years, whatever, everybody needs a place to live at some point in time. It can't continue to be as messed up as I think it has been. So it's just been really interesting to see the types of buyers that are on the market. And, with the inflation numbers, and we know that the next Fed meeting coming up on the 2nd, there's probably going to be another bump in rate. So everything is still going to continue as to kind of status quo. I wanted to maybe spend some time today talking about the special types of buyers that we've been seeing come through in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. I hear your team's coming into the office. Is everybody getting in, getting ready for the Monday
I
morning
I know.
huddle?
I probably need to close my door.
You're
They're all
good. You're
coming
good.
in
I
on
love it.
Monday
Tell them to
morning.
come say hi on the live stream. Let's talk about it. I know that, we know things aren't going to be changing. We don't believe anytime soon in terms of rates. We don't want that to discourage people from buying. So there's a specific type of buyer that we've been actually seeing a lot of in the
A
last
lot
couple of
of.
weeks. That I'm actually really surprised by. I don't know why I'm surprised by it. Talk to me about that buyer.
Well, in markets like this, it seems like if you couldn't get into something before, then this is
Mhm.
the time that you strike right now, right? So,
Yep.
and I can give you a few examples of the different files that we've had like this that where they didn't have income. So I had one
Yeah.
client that was self-employed. He wrote off everything, so he didn't have any income coming in. He had some retirement income showing, but he had a lot of assets. So he had a lot in
Mhm.
the stocks, a lot in just different types of assets, right? So we were able to do a pretty aggressive asset-based program to be able to come up with his income from the assets that he had without him
Mhm.
bringing in income to qualify, to be able to qualify him that way. So that was pretty fun to do that.
Well, let me ask about that though, because I don't know that a lot of people who don't work for themselves realize and understand that yes, income is still coming, but it doesn't mean it's on an actual pay stub, right? And I think that that's so many people think I have to have a paycheck stub in order to buy a house, or I have to have $1 million to put down, or 20% down, which is like the biggest misnomer of all, right? So this is business owner. That's one example, right? Works for themselves, right?
Mhm.
Maybe a hustle person, someone who's making 1099 person, not somebody who actually is getting a paycheck from a company, correct? Or even their own company.
Yeah, and a lot of times as a business owner, you take a lot of expenses through your business, right? So
I know I do. Oh my God.
yeah, so there's other ways too, like bank statement programs, but I know that's a different subject, so we could talk about that later because today it was
Right.
about no income. So this
Yes.
person had no income and was able to get the loan based on putting down. So in these types of loans, they do require more down payment,
Sure.
on them. But you're qualifying based on the assets that are in your bank. So it was a really cool program. The other one that I had a lady that was buying a house, couldn't really show, she couldn't qualify. She was already denied by another lender, I think even
Hmm.
two other lenders
Yep.
before, and came to me and I said, hey, there's a program out there where if you're going to do this as an investment property, and she was buying it for business purposes, so it
Hmm.
fit, right?
Perfect.
So I said, if you're going to do it as an investment property, you can basically do the loan. We don't put any income on the application. The only income that's showing is the rent that is received from that house that you're purchasing.
So
So
it's like you're guessing or guesstimating based on the market, based on a lease that you can put together, or looking at what could be made on that market as on that house in the market as a rental, and you're upfront saying, hey, I don't make any money now, but it's going to make money as soon as I close and I get someone into it.
yeah, yeah. Well, not only that, you're not just guessing. We're going to order an appraisal. The appraisal is going to pull the market comparisons for the area for
Right.
rents, right?
Right.
You can even have the appraiser pull short-term rents, which are higher than a
Right.
normal rent, right?
Wow.
And that's the income that we're going to use to qualify them for that payment.
Awesome.
So, you're able to do that. Those ones require a little bit more money down too.
Hmm.
But I've had multiple people walk in like this. I just had another one last week that contacted me and said, they were in process with another lender. They got denied because she was getting paid under the table on her job,
Right.
but had a lot of assets. So
Hmm.
we put her on the same program to qualify her for this house, and she was currently living in a different state, so she could use the property as an investment. So,
I think it's
there's some
interesting,
different.
Amber.
Uh-huh.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just think it's interesting because, this is over and over again, this happens with us where someone comes to you because they've been denied by another lender. That's,
Mhm.
if not multiples. We have people who contact us who are just super defeated. I really want to move to Vegas, but I've talked to 4 lenders. All of them say I can't qualify. And my inevitable question is, but have you talked to Amber? And I'm not saying this like to float you up and make you whatever, but I'm not trying
It's
to hype
floating.
you. But this is real. This is how you do business. This is why I am so eager to get people to talk to you, because you don't take no for an answer. You will find a way. And like, to your point, where there's a will, there is a way, and you've got a will like no other. So it's just
Oh,
really
well,
cool to
thank
hear you
you.
being able to do that. So what I'm hearing you say though, is like that a lot of the people that are out there that are now kind of coming off the couch saying, well, maybe now's my time, are the people who maybe were denied in the past, the people who just assume they can't get a loan because I don't have any income. I would rather take the write-offs and not own that. And I've heard people say that to me. I'd rather take the write-offs
For
every
sure.
year with my business and not own a home than have to deal with stating the income and paying myself. And they just feel like they're getting dinged on all fronts from a tax perspective, which they are. And so there's really an opportunity. Are there opportunities for people to do this for a home that they're going to live in? Not just investment?
If it's asset based. So then when this happened last week, I even called some of the reps that I deal with on these. They're called non-QM loans. So basically loans that don't fit into like conventional FHA, VA, like what we usually talk about.
Awesome.
And I called one of the reps and I said, how's business right now? Because everybody's lower than normal. And he said, I'm grateful, but business is more than it's ever been before.
Wow.
So a lot of people that can't, like when you're seeing people that are buying, I think it's people that are getting afraid of the stock market, right?
Right.
Because
they want to pull their money out of something.
Volatile. So they're going to put it into a house, but because their income has always come from stock market type of things or self-employed entrepreneurish type of things where you're not really showing it on taxes, it's a safer bet to put it in a house and collect a high rent on that house because of inflation, where you're going to gain it monthly, on owning the house monthly. So to be able to see that in people that are really thinking outside the box right now, and I'm telling you, within the last couple weeks, there's been 5 that I've put on these types of programs.
Right.
And when you're doing it owner occupied, if you have the assets to make it more of an asset program. So there was one program that if you have the assets to pay cash for the house, then you could do the loan without showing any income.
Oh, wow.
I know that's a lot of cash, and that's only for a specific borrower. But the first one that I told you about, that he had the assets in his bank, and we just did an asset-based calculation for his income, that was owner occupied.
That's awesome.
So we didn't show any other income other than what came off his assets.
That's amazing. It's so cool to see, the unique buyers kind of out there back on the market. It definitely makes our end of the job a little bit harder to do a little bit more work, but it's creative and it gives us a chance to really kind of bring new hope. Anytime there's a new unique buyer, it's, maybe there's more of this person out there. Let's make sure we tell the world, you know what I mean? So it's been kind of cool seeing that. I think the other thing that I've been seeing and hearing a lot of, which just backs up exactly what you just said, is I've had a lot of people reach out to me saying, I wasn't going to buy. I don't want to buy. I'm not going to move. I got to put my money somewhere, because to your point before, they are getting so nervous about what's happening with, they're worried about the crash being everywhere, not just a housing crash. Right. And to your point before, housing is a safe bet and where to put your money. But it's just so interesting to me to hear people say, I'm just going to pull all these stocks out. I just need to throw it into a house, tell me what to do. And they really help us. They let us help them. Let us help them create that dream and do it. And it's been great.
I mean, I can see their point for wanting to pull out of the volatile stock market right now, where you never know the next dip, what's going to happen and how much you're going to lose, especially if it's a substantial amount, and put it in a long-term thing where they know they're going to get renters in a house, because everybody needs security, right? Like everybody needs a roof over your head. So they know they're going to get renters. And with inflation right now, if you're a landlord, you're being able to charge some pretty high rents out there.
Yeah. And that's not going down anytime soon. It's absolutely not going down anytime soon. One of the things we've been talking to people about, a lot of people find us through the YouTube channel from some videos I did a couple years ago about Airbnb rules. A lot of people are talking about Airbnb. And now that the word is out that Airbnb is, quote, allowed in Las Vegas, I'm using air quotes for a reason, because there's a lot of rules and regulations that kind of make it almost impossible. Stay tuned, more videos coming. But a lot of people find us that way. And when we get them on the phone and they realize, they can do something like this. They can pool their assets. They don't have to have income. They don't care about literally don't care about what the market rates are right now, because they know they can refinance it in a year, 6 months, whatever that looks like. All they care about is putting their money in a safe space. It's just so cool to see people kind of being smarter about this experience, and they coming to us with all of that, layering these awesome programs that can let you pretend to be a cash buyer or whatever, or these programs that are asset only programs, or first time home buyer plus free grants. Plus, I just love seeing people stack up the sandwich of what they can take advantage of right now. And I think as long as people keep the mindset that I'm going to marry the house and date the rate, and I can just swap that rate out at any given time. And I can also lean heavily, to our point before, on sellers giving back, buying my rate down, paying my closing costs, lenders saying no, then bringing them to you, and then us saying, well, let us go back to that builder who we have a better relationship with, and now we're going to get more than they would have even gotten. Just things like that have been really interesting to see.
It is really interesting to see, like what's happening right now, because there is a lot of people getting the no. Don't take the no. There's always a different way, and that's what people are finding right now. I mean, all of these people that we were able to put on these programs were a previous no from somebody else. They couldn't figure it out. They couldn't do it. But there's always a market within a market. There's always a way to be able to make things work. There's I guess if there's a will, there's a way, right? So if it's something that you really want, then let's just find the way to make it work.
Yeah. So I guess, if you've been told no, or you've told yourself no, the bottom line is click the link in the pinned comment or the description, contact our team. Let's let Amber put a plan together for you. Do you have no income, but you have some down payment? Did you sell a house, but don't want to buy yet because you think the rates are too high and you're not really sure what to do? Let us help you structure what you should do. I've seen Amber turn people from wanting to just own one home and be done with it into multi-investment homeowners within three months. It's just
That's
been really
so
incredible to
fun,
see
too.
what we've been doing. And it's really all thanks to you, because you're a creative thinker, because you don't take no for an answer. And it is possible, to your point, to buy a house with no income, right?
It is. I'm doing them right now. I've closed them this year as well, but like right now, it seems like that seems to be the hot point right now, is
Right.
people that
People
couldn't
who
do
are
it
moving their
before.
money, they have assets, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And like people that don't want to have it in the stock market right now. You want a safer bet, and the safer bet's always going to be housing. So it's kind of an investor type of way to look at things.
Investor, but you can also do it for if you want to live there too. So I just love that it's not one side or the other. I love that, if I'm somebody who really wants to buy, but I'm working for myself, I've taken that really nice, write off every year, but that sucks because now I don't have enough income. There is a way to go about it. And these aren't the only loans, right? These are no income loans, or the asset-based loans are not the only ones that you're working with right now, but they're the ones that have been pretty hot and heavy the last couple of weeks.
They've been pretty hot and heavy. Yeah. The last couple of weeks. But no, they're not the only ones that are out there. When you're looking at the non-QM world, it's the out of the box world. It's the world. What's the world we love, right?
Give me an example of some more non-QM type loans. Give me like two more.
Well, like bank statement loans are non-QM loans. So somebody is self-employed. They don't show their money on their tax returns. They can't do a regular loan. So they give 12 to 24 months bank statements. You can even do less than that. But to get the better like rates and stuff, you're going to do 12 to 24 months of bank statements. And we calculate your income based on the amount of deposits that you put into your bank. And then there's a calculation with that happening. So this way you don't have to show tax returns. So I get a lot of self-employed people that say, I can't, like you said earlier, I can't do a loan because I write too much off on my tax returns. This is the way to do that, to be able to get the loan, even though you take a lot of write-offs in your tax returns. Because what I tell people is that when you're self-employed, either you pay it in your taxes or you pay it in your rate. One way or another, you're going to pay the money. So it's dependent on you to decide which one works better for you. So bank statement makes it to where you can get in the house, start taking additional write-offs in something other than your business, take the additional write-offs on your house, and to be able to not have to rent the rest of your life, to be working towards something, paying something off for future retirement and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Give me one more. So there's bank statement loans, there's the asset-based loans, there's these amazing loans that are helping people look like a cash buyer when they aren't a cash buyer. I mean, I've been blown away at the types of loans that they've been coming out with and how creative the financial market has gotten when it comes to that. Give me one more though. Give me one more non-QM loan.
If you're like, say you're foreign national, like you're in Canada or you're in, the UK, wherever you're at, if you're a foreign national and when you're buying a house in the United States, typically you have to be able to show, number one, a social security number, right? So that you can pull credit and stuff like that. These types of loans will let you buy the house in the US as your investment property. There's even Canadian loans that will let you do it as a second home too. So it really depends on where you're from. But buy the houses as your investment property. Let's just use that one, for example. And then you don't have to run the credit. There's no credit needed. There's nothing that's needed on these ones to be able to show that you have U.S. residency. What you're going to show is that you have the down payment to put down. And that's basically the risk that the bank is taking. And they're going to show income coming from that house. Wow. So You could do that on even condotels. You
Yeah.
can do as a foreign national. You could do it in so many different ways. It's
Yep.
definitely out of the box way of thinking and doing things.
I love it, and that's the name of the game when it comes to working with you. It makes me so happy, and I actually learned so much. I know a lot of realtors and a lot of people in your industry they're all scared. A lot of them are trying to find regular jobs and pulling out of this industry, which I don't blame them. It's very scary, as slow as things have been for some of them. But for me, I almost enjoy these downtimes because it really forces us to get creative, forces us to
Mhm.
stretch our abilities and show the world kind of what we're made of. And you've taught me so much. And just this specific experience this last couple of months has been super enlightening about how much wrong information people are actually believing and how much more we need to be loud about the actual reality of what can happen and what you can do, but also just like that there is still hope out there. I'm seeing a lot of people still reach out because they're listening to what we're saying, but they're also realizing like, dang, it can turn on a dime, so I've got to take control of this wheel myself and not just like follow what the masses are doing. It's been really interesting.
It is a real interesting ride, right? Well, and
Yeah.
the good thing about it is a lot of these clients that are reaching out for these type of programs, they're your clients. So they're
Yeah.
people that are watching you on YouTube. So thank you for putting the word out and,
Happy to do it.
being the voice of hope out there,
Thanks.
letting people know that there's things when other people say there's not. There's always a way to get it done, right? And
Absolutely.
because of you, a lot of people have found that and have been able to turn their money into a positive thing, like these types
I
of
love it.
programs.
Well,
Mhm.
so bottom line is that if there's a will, there's a way. If you have no income, if you only have assets, if you don't have any way to show that you make the money that you make, call us anyway, because there is a possibility for you to buy a home. There's a way, actually, a couple of ways for you to buy a home with no actual income, no stated income. There's also several other opportunities that we were just talking about. I still firmly believe that if you're going to put your money anywhere, put it into housing. Look away from the rate. Look away from all the BS online, because at the end of the day, people will always need a place to live, regardless. Doesn't matter, crash coming, this, that, and the other. It doesn't matter. This is a long-term investment, and if people are always
Mhm.
going to need shelter, then why would you not be the person who owns the shelter, right? You can charge rent, you can make money on it, pay it off later. Just look away from the rate. So I'm a big believer in that. I know you are too, and it's awesome to see that there's so many new people hitting the market, people who've been told no in the past, but also just there's so many new programs out there that are allowing people to do this, which is awesome. All right, let me go over to our questions real quick and see. Just a quick
Yes.
reminder, everybody, this is for you. So comment below if you have any specific questions. I'm going to see what we have over here. So far, we have a bunch of people that tuned in. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. Oscar Love says hello from damp Seattle. It's
Well,
cool
hello,
in Las Vegas.
Oscar.
Hi, Oscar. I'm wearing a jacket today, Raiders jacket today. So it's not damp here, but it's definitely cool. Josh says, I'm looking to buy a house in Henderson, but I was wondering, where's the old part of Henderson and where's the new part? Josh, really good question.
Oh,
Amber,
yes.
do you know the answer since you were not a Henderson girl? I'm going to test you on this first.
Well, I mean, this is more of a lazy question, but I would say
I
the
know, but
old part of
I'm testing
Henderson
you.
is more by like Galleria Mall, and then new
Mhm.
part of Henderson is more by like 215. Am I right there? Or no,
That
new
is
part of
such
Henderson is more like by Raiders Stadium, right? Or like by
Mhm.
Raiders practice stadium
I love
of
testing
St.
you because
Rose.
I know, like, I'm a Henderson girl, and you and I are both East Side girls too. But I always just joke because you work in Summerlin, and I'm always like, does she really know where that is, or does she just use her GPS?
Did
You're
I pass
almost
your
right.
test?
Almost right. Almost right. Yeah. So the older part of Henderson is kind of down on Water Street, Boulder Highway area, really kind of as you're heading out towards Boulder City, essentially. And the brand new part of Henderson, the really sexy, awesome, booming part of Henderson is, yes, you were right, by the Raiders facility over by Inspirada and M Resort. Josh, if you're looking to buy a house, I really hope you're working with our team. We are experts on new homes, resale, all of it. We're working with an amazing badass like Amber. But beyond that, we absolutely know the area that you should be focused on. It just depends on the type of lifestyle you want, but great question. Hey, Olivia, just want to say congratulations to our friend Olivia Carr. She gave birth to her second gorgeous baby over the last week, and wanted to
Oh,
say congrats, Olivia.
congrats.
And she's live joining us today. And she's always a big, big fan. So we love her. Jake says, I like my 2.7 interest rate on my home loan at the moment. Thank you, Amber. Nice, Amber. You must have hooked up Jake at one
Oh,
point in
so
time.
glad you got
Very,
that
very cool.
2.7 interest rate. Good
I
job
love
buying when
that.
you did and getting your
All right,
loan when you did.
let's look at this as interesting. Spencer's Crypto Vibe asks, is there any way to buy a house that needs work? And what is the threshold for what is considered too much work to get financing? I found a house in Nye County that I'm focused on. He's a licensed general contractor. What would you say about that when it comes to getting an approved loan? Like, because appraisals are required typically. House has to typically be in living, breathing, working order. But let's talk about that, Amber.
It depends on what type of loan you're doing. So if you're doing like an FHA loan, it has to be in livable condition. Now, that just means the ground has to be covered with flooring, right? There can't be any like holes in the walls, any exposed wiring, any hazardous things that would be dangerous. But so if it's like wear and tear that you're buying a house that you just need to fix up wear and tear, you could do conventional or FHA on that.
Yep.
Conventional is a little less strict, but they still don't like safety issues. So like a lot of times I've seen pools are an issue. Like if a pool's empty, a lot of times you'll have to, fill it up or cover it so that it's not a
Oh,
safety issue, because the bank doesn't want to be caught with something happening, something horrible
right.
happening, and then there's a safety problem, then they might be held liable because they lent with it on that. So um
Awesome.
so so if it depends on if you have to like if it's a real rehab where you're going to walk into it and it's pretty
Like a gut
stripped
job.
inside
Yeah.
with flooring and stuff like that, then let's look at a rehab loan. There are rehab loans that you could do. So it really depends on the actual condition of the house, what's
Mhm.
in it, and then we can decide what type of loan there is for you. But I think there's a loan for any of that.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what you may not have known. Spencer may not have known is that there actually are loans that support those types of homes. You know, they come
Yeah.
a little bit differently structured. May not be what you want, but it may help you reframe kind of how you're looking at homes. May open you up to more opportunity now that you know. That's great. That's good news. Good question, Spencer's Crypto Vibe. I love that.
Yeah.
SoCal to Vegas. SoCal to Vegas says bank statement loans are great, but they're way more expensive. I paid almost 2 points over normal loan. That's absolutely right. They definitely are more expensive, but those bank statement loans are available for a specific type of buyer, someone who could not maybe get financed in a more traditional way, which would not cost them more points. What can you say more about the bank statement loans?
They are more expensive, but then the other, I mean, you kind of got to weigh your options, right? The
Yep.
way to get it, if you're self-employed, you're not showing any income on your taxes, but you're actually making income. The bank statement loan offers you the ability to be able to get a house. So then again, you have those other benefits, tax write-offs, a roof
Hmm.
over your head that you own yourself. So they are more expensive, but you kind of have to expect it because they're looking outside the box to be able to get the loan for you. So it gets the
Absolutely.
job done. It still gets you the benefits of being a homeowner, but you do have to pay more, or you're paying in taxes. So I've talked to other self-employed people that are doing bank statement loans, and they said, I've
Hmm.
done the math, and this isn't for everybody, but from what these certain people have told me is that they've done the math and it's cheaper for them to do the higher bank statement loan where
Right.
you're paying more and your rates more too, than to pay more in your taxes every year.
Right.
So you kind of have to do the math and say, here's the payment on this, here's the fees on this, here's what I have to pay in taxes if I do my taxes a different way. So, you
I
know,
love that. Yeah.
mhm.
I think you said it earlier when we were talking about it. You're going to pay it one way or another. You're going to pay it in the rate or you're going to pay it without the taxes. So being smart about it and actually looking at a side-by-side comparison, I think it's definitely a way to go about it. But Amber's the one that's going to help you guys walk through that. You guys should always be looking at every angle. And thank God, I feel like you have like a, what are those called? Like decagon, whatever those Rubik's cubes. My son used to do those. They have some that has like 100 sides. I feel like your crystal ball has 100 sides to it. You see all
I need one
angles.
of
It's kind of
those,
cool.
huh?
Yeah. I love
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Taryn says, I'm loving the information you ladies are passing along. Thank you, Taryn. Appreciate
Oh,
you
thanks,
watching.
Taryn.
Let's see. Isaac Rodriguez says, can an FHA loan give a better chance for a person who is a first-time home buyer and self-employed who makes around $25,000 annually? Can an FHA loan give a better chance to a person who is self-employed who makes about 25K annually?
At FHA loans a great option. The only thing with FHA loans, you have to fit within a specific debt ratio.
Right.
So if your income is 25,000 annually, your amount that you could qualify is going to be a lot lower. So
Hmm.
then we'd have to see what are your needs with the house and
Right.
then weigh it between FHA. The benefits of FHA though is it's lesser down payment. They
Hmm.
do have really good first time home buyer grants and stuff that you can add to it. But because you have to fit into that debt to income ratio, if your income isn't all showing on your tax returns, you might have a hard time with that part.
Got it. That's awesome. Good question. Thanks, Isaac. If you need more information, Isaac, Amber and I, we can set up a phone call. She can do a one-on-one with you to talk specifically about your needs. There may be other angles you're not considering. Again, she's got that crystal ball that's got all those angles. So make sure you reach out. I want to just also pause for a minute before I move on, because there's a couple of additional questions I see here. Amber, can we remind everybody that you don't just focus on Las Vegas and in Nevada? Let's talk about the states that you do serve from a loan perspective, because I know that, a lot of people have been grateful to know that you can actually help them move in or out of Las Vegas and help them represent them on both sides of it, sometimes, depending.
Yeah, I mean, well, and sometimes people want to buy second homes, all kinds of different stuff. But Utah, Idaho, other outside of Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Oklahoma. My team is also licensed in Arizona, California, and we're working on other states. So pretty much anything that butts up to Nevada, we got you. And further than that, I mean, Oklahoma is pretty far out there, but
yeah, no, I think that's great. And that's good for people to know, because, I think a lot of people just assume we're always just talking about Nevada. And for my team right now, I have very tight connections with a lot of agents that I can recommend you work with in other states while we figure out if we're going to get licensed there or not. But Amber, thank goodness, is covered. So if you're buying a second home, you're selling a home, you want to just talk to someone. If you live in any of those states or are looking at those, Amber is your girl. All right, let's go down here.
Thank you.
All right. Woo Eats said, can a vet pull out additional loan from the current VA loan in California to buy another property in Nevada, but have a family member like in-laws stay in it for the meantime?
You asked such good questions. Thank you, Woo.
Yeah, it's very
okay,
good.
So VA loan is primary residence. So what a lot of veterans don't know is you can do 2 loans depending on how much you took out of your first loan. Right. So there's a limit of how much you can take out, but you can combine that within 2 loans. But you have to be living in the house. So let's say you bought your first house and then you just in California, since that's what you said, and you decided to move to Vegas. Since you're going to be living in the new house, you can rent out your current house depending on the time frame you live there. They don't like you to do like buy a house 2 months from now and then move. But if you've lived there for a year or over a year, you should be good. And then buy a new house in Las Vegas, you can do that, but you can't buy a house for your family members to live in. You'd have to do a different type of loan for that. You would actually have to be living there as the veteran.
That's a really good point. That made sense to me, but I also want to remind you to just mention that we do have those friends and or family loans. Don't we have the family opportunity loans or something that's out there?
Yeah, that's a conventional loan. So if you like, let's say you're buying a house for your parents to live in Las Vegas, right? There's what's called a family opportunity loan where you can buy the house as a primary residence, putting down 5% down, and still do the loan, but you can't do the VA for that. But that's still a really good program where you only have to put 5% down to be able to do it. And then, qualify in that type of loan. So looking at a different type of loan other than VA, unless there's a chance that you're going to be living in the house 51% of the time. So let's talk and go over all the options and see where you're at.
I love it. Once again, always has a yes. There's always a way. Where there's a will, where there's an Amber, there's a way, is what I like to say. That's going to be our new saying. I don't see any other questions below. I just want to remind everybody, we do live streams once a week. I'm doing them probably more than once a week, but with Amber specifically about real estate, once a week. So if you ever have questions, please pop on, join us. Be sure to subscribe to our channels wherever you're watching us from. I see a few people on YouTube. I'm seeing a few people from Facebook. We're broadcasting everywhere. We want to be here for you. We want to answer your questions. And we're just trying to bring hope. The bottom line is there's darkness out there when it comes to everything going on in the world. And we want to be the ones that shed some light and bring some hope. With the people who are saying housing is not a good investment and don't put your money into housing, it's just going to crash. They're not looking at the long-term investment opportunity. They're not looking at the entire reason why buying a home would maybe make the most sense. So we want to be sure to make sure you're listening to people who have seen others invest. We've helped other people invest, and we've invested ourselves. We know that if someone's going to always need a place to live, then maybe buying that type of asset is what's going to be a good idea for you to park your money. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Amber, as always, you bring the wisdom. I'm just the fluff today. I didn't have much to bring except for putting you on camera and answering.
Oh my goodness, you always have a ton to bring, you little cutie.
No. Well, thank you. No. Thank you. I meant today is about you, and I love that because you're bringing so much knowledge to the forefront. So we're here bringing you hope once a week. Please subscribe immediately. Make sure you drop a comment in the description in the comment box and let us know where you watched us from today. today. And if you have any other questions, and we'll bring them into our next live stream next week. How about that, Amber?
Love it. Love it. Let's
Sorry-
keep doing it. Thanks for bringing the light, Lacey.
Sorry we couldn't do it in person today, but we will do it again soon. And we'll see you soon, guys. Thanks again. Bye, Amber.
Bye. Thank you.